Mhm. Hey, y'all, we're back live. Really excited to be here for another episode of Find Things Refreshed.
Hi,
That's
everybody.
a little bit of a special day. If you don't know, it is this beautiful woman's birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday to my mother and one of our founding partners, Angie Azalitis, someone that's been very, very important to my life. I just wanted to take a quick second here and let everybody know that she's turning 34 today. So if you see her, wish her a big happy 3-4.
That's
But no, I
a
think if
decade.
my got it right, I believe we're at 54, 54 years young. Well, it's exciting to have these milestones together and to celebrate. And I just wanted to take a quick, second to do that because family is really important to us at Yazo, whether you are true blood, like my mother, but also our family at Yazo. All of those folks are really, really important to us. Our employees, our consultants, our clients is a big part of who we are at Yazo. So happy birthday to you, Mom. I'm excited to do this on your special day. But we're going to kick things off with first, our structure. We always do a highlight on our values at Yazo. We also then take a spin into sort of the marketing world, give some tips and tools. Today we're going to talk a little bit about results, reviewing those results. It is almost at that point in time where it's time to look back at Q1 and prepare for the end of Q2. And then at the very end, we'll do a little bit of a shout out for one of our fine things. So I'm going to kick it over to the birthday girl to start us off with our value for this third episode, excuse me.
Third episode already.
Yeah, I know it's hard to
Yeah,
believe.
so I love this one. As far as our value goes, community service, community involvement is important to us at Yasso. So, you know, I think for us, it's about finding. It's funny because community involvement and community service is actually prior to COVID, it was a big buzzword as part of marketing that
Yeah.
it was give back marketing. Some people would call it give back marketing. Um, and when I would talk, I'd actually had an opportunity to speak about that places to like do talks about that. And my big thing I would say back then is don't do it just for marketing. Like if you're doing it just for marketing, it's going to be insincere and it's not going to get you what you think you're getting out of it. And I feel that same way today, probably times 10
Yeah.
strong. That
Yeah.
I'm talking about this from a values perspective today versus from a marketing perspective 5 years ago.
Mhm.
But the same thing about being sincere and passionate about what you're involved in makes a huge difference. And we've done this before. Like I used to bring you places with me. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, fingerprinting. I remember that.
Yeah, like, but even beyond that, like when we would do Christmas like gifts in the community with the company I was involved in. And I think the thing that I learned is that you see it even in kids. If you're forcing something on them, that's good. I mean, it's good when they're little, when they're a certain age, because that's learning, you're teaching them to be
Mhm.
involved in the community. And I think that's extremely important. There are ages when you have to force, and then there is a point when you need to let them walk their own path. And but by starting it when they're little, they have
Love
this
that.
feel for like how cool and how exciting it is to like be involved in the community that they live in, and then they want to do it when they're older.
Mhm. And I can even remember when we got involved with some of the Special Olympics and, like, taking Aaron, my younger brother, when he fell in love with that, and you could just see as he grows up that joy in his heart to be with the kids and the give back. I mean, you start it early and it just grows and grows and grows as they get older, but the beauty of this is it's an opportunity to bring community involvement into your business and allow you to go outward into the community. And it's checks a few different boxes, right? There's the importance of just being involved in the community from a branding perspective and awareness perspective. But to Angie's point earlier, it's not always to be done from a marketing perspective. What you're able to do by creating community involvement, you can do this in a number of different ways. You can do it through sponsorships, you can do it through tax credits, you can do it through volunteer time. But a lot of these things that you're able to do when you start an initiative like community involvement at a business is you're breaking away the identity of, oh, I work at this place, I'm an employee of this place. You're, breaking out that mold of your identity is tied to the place that you work. And I think that's a big thing for the younger generation, is that they don't just want to be an employee. They want to be where there's a place they can make an impact, maybe not just with their job, but going out and having, you have a paid day off, give an employee a paid day off to go volunteer.
Yeah.
There's opportunities here to just really create unity within your workplace. You're driving community, you're fostering community growth, and all of that comes back to unity as a team. But then there are those marketing plugs. There's opportunities to create the branded T-shirts, your team logo, or when you go out and you're having a community cleanup day and you have your team shirts on and people see you and you're able to create these events. It's really fun. And I think one of the big things that, we've even had a chance to play in part with, like, Hoops Fest. And Hoops Fest is a big community event that, the church gave back to, but it's an opportunity now that's grown into this massive thing. So you can even start community involvement on like a little scale that can end up growing over years. So it's really cool.
I think, like last night I was at the Wise Women of Blair County tribute dinner, and just playing a tiny role sitting on that board. Sometimes it's just you're sitting on a board. So we encourage. So it's also interesting talking it through, Eli. Like, we need more of it. Like, we encourage it. We certainly
You're right.
And but like, probably our folks don't know if, like, someone came and said, I want to spend the day tomorrow doing, like, volunteering, we would be like, go for it,
Absolutely.
So if, like, just having the conversation, when we listed our values, Eli and I listed our values together, this was one of them that was top of the list. But just talking it through, I know we don't do enough. Like, we sit on board for sure. I volunteer at my church.
We give back. We do donations.
We do sponsorships, but we don't do enough. So it's been great to kind of talk this through with you guys, because it's a reminder that we might need to take a look at that. Because if it's our value, our core value.
Exactly. Well, just to bring it back full circle, we're talking about community involvement and how it can be a part of your business, but also a part of your life. And I think that, as we talk about Yazo, our values, for Angie and I, are circled in around a business, but a lot of these values also have intrinsic value in life. So I just, encourage y'all to take a look in the mirror and say, hey, am I doing enough? Can I get out and do more? And push yourself to be uncomfortable, because the more that you get out and do that, you may open up doors for other business opportunities just by having a conversation and showing that you're out, you have a caring attitude, you're a generous individual. Those are values that people like to work with continually. So maybe an opportunity to give back to the community, but it could come full circle and come into your life from a business perspective. So our value for today at Yazo, and in our worlds, our individual worlds, is community involvement. So we're going to take a little transition here and go into marketing world, which we love at Yazo. It is really our playground and our sandbox that we like to build in. And the tip for today is going to be reviewing results. Now, I know this may sound very, very generic, and it is very, very generic, and it's also very broad. But what we want to talk about is more from a timeliness perspective. As we wrapped up Q1, we transitioned into Q2. Before we know it, we're looking at June, and we're halfway through the year. And we, as you kick off the year, you have a lot of marketing initiatives. You have a lot of goals, milestones, tasks that you need to do. But ultimately, you get caught in the mundane of doing those tasks, checking those boxes. But you don't take the time to sit and look at the data, the results. And this comes from email marketing. It comes from social engagement. It comes across through different social channels. Is there a better channel than, one? Is there a message that's working better than another? If you're doing any advertising campaigns, what do those numbers look like? Have you done any A/B testing? So, Angie, Mom, I want to throw it over to you to talk a little bit about this. But it's really exciting for us. I know it can get dry because it's data, but data is what drives results. And that's what really makes us excited at Yazo, is creating results for our clients.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because we're deep into it ourselves, because Eli, obviously you have growth goals for our agency. So
Absolutely.
we're like looking at what's not working, what's working. We're tweaking messaging, and we're getting ready to get pushed out of our comfort zone, even from an investment in our own business perspective,
Hmm.
to try to get to the next level. Sometimes you have to take a risk and you have to invest, and your data is going to tell you if you're there or not. Like, um, I'm a big believer that there are people who really just are able to continue growing organically. They've got a great connections within their influencer circle. It's taking them places. They are super dynamic on air. Um, and those are all things you want to test first and foremost. And you
Hmm.
also have to test your stomach for things like how much spend can you tolerate and
Yep.
not tolerate? Because the big thing that you look at in data is, if you can't tolerate 3 6 months of a spend, 3 to 6 months of a spend, you're not even going to have the data to really actually look at. So you'd be better off taking an amount you can tolerate and plugging it in where you're actually going to be able to look at something and actually going to be able to get results.
You
And
have actionable data. I think that's the big thing. Is a lot of people will say, "I have data," but there's not a lot of things to execute on.
yeah. So, like, it's always from a strategy perspective, it's like telling, it's people want to know where to start. Like, I had a conversation, very brief conversation this morning in a meeting where what came up was like, we did do Google Ads, we have Google Analytics, we don't even know what we're reading. Um, Not understanding, necessarily that can hinder a business from,
Mhm.
because there's information you can find out if you're sending them to a website and they're just not staying on there, or they're
Exactly.
not clicking on your call to actions you want them to click on. Um, like, that data is telling you something. So I think that the pivot back to where our conversation is to go today, it's April 21st. So
Mhm.
we're almost done with April. If you have not revisited your first quarter, January, February, March data, it's time to do it now. But honestly, data isn't just what you're thinking. Like, data from an ad, super important. Data from a landing page, super important. Data from Google Analytics, super important. Data from email marketing, super important. Data from organic, non-paid social is important.
Mhm.
Like, I get these reports every month. I don't even look at them. Yeah, I know. Um, Data from your Google My Business page. If you're a local regional business, it's unbelievable the reports they give you.
And data and reviews. We talk about this all of the time. Reviews are essentially data, living, breathing data of someone's opinion of your business and or your service. So is there an opportunity there to either A, act on those reviews, by responding to them and or taking those in-house and saying, okay, is there an issue or something that we may need to address from an operational perspective, from a messaging perspective? So it's data comes in all shapes and sizes.
And then the big one that I think most small businesses, including us, like, we have to look at is data in task lists,
Mhm.
because um or your project management platform, whatever it is that you're using. For me, Eli gets super mad at me because I don't like to use the project management platform, although I just put it in place for a project I'm heading up. You That data is super important. So if you have a task list of marketing, and I'll kind of walk through an example for you. Like, let's say you wanted to get really into communications,
Mhm.
PR, what Yaz is always called level two PR. So you have PR press, which can consult PSAs and press releases, which
Yep.
you're blasting out right to the media about special events in your business or whatever. Um, but true level two PR is much deeper. It's where you're actually creating a story about your business, um, not making it up. There has to be some truth to it.
Sure.
You're building a storyline around your business and you're pitching it to media, meaning someone actually you have to first have it documented in a pleasing manner. And then, whether it's in video form or written form, or I always say both, or, who are you pitching it to? So someone has to be willing to pick up the phone and be pitching it, that knows a little bit about communications.
Mhm.
I mean, depending on the size of your business, let's face it, you might not be able to afford a PR professional who is spending charging you thousands on that. But if you can't afford it, it could possibly be worth it because it could
Yep.
take you to the next level. But back to data and why this is important. If that's a goal for you in first quarter, and you had a to-do list of, okay, first we need to write the story. We need to create the image around the story. We need to get the list of who we're pitching it to. We have to do, and now we're in April and you've not even created the story. What's your data telling you?
Yeah. That you don't have enough timeline. You don't have enough, gap in between. The data is also the time it takes to complete tasks, which is, I think, kind of where you're going with that is like, well, how long does it take to get from step one to step two to step three to step four? And we're going through this right now with a postcard campaign, even your data of how quickly can you get to fulfillment. So then we have the data of, okay, we know if we want to have a campaign that launches at the beginning of the next month, then we need to start it 30, 45 days in advance to get through those steps. So data comes again in all those shapes and sizes. And I think that's kind of where you were getting at, right?
Yeah, and then the data is also, are you ever going to do it? That's the data is also being super honest with yourself. Like if we
Yep.
said that was a Yazoo campaign, that we're going to start doing true level 2 PR and we're going to do XYZ and we haven't gotten to it in 90 days, well, actually 110 days, and we have to look at that and say, okay, but realistically, the data is telling us we've not done it. What do we either have to change
Mm-hmm.
to do it, or are we going to do it in 2022? Does this need to be a 2023 or end of 20 campaign? So, you have to look at all of your data sources. So your data comes from your data points digitally, but it also comes from your knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Data is also knowledge and insights that you have. And then data can come from external sources like focus groups. So, those are things that is to keep in mind. I don't believe as a, you know, world that we should ever get to the point that we fully eliminate human data.
Mm-hmm.
AI is going to tell us a lot, but when we fully eliminate human data, I think that there's a measure of reality that's gone that is super important for most businesses at this point, at least now and over the next 5 years. I don't know what's going to happen.
I would agree with that. And it's funny because we've recently, even at Yazda, we've looked at tools where there's data that is, tracking data on where your device is going and what buildings it's in and how you do know what type of individual that they are by how they physically move, which is tracking your devices. But then there's the data that we had with a totally different client on the focus groups on understanding what is the actual verbal response to a brand, right? When they hear a certain name, what do they think? What is that elicited response? And you're not really going to get those without talking to someone, without throwing that to them and getting that immediate verbal response. Because if you do it digitally and you're capturing data like a survey, someone may sit and think and ponder, and that's good. But you also may want to know what was that immediate response. So again, data can be really, really granular, really, really computer driven, but it can also be qualitative and more of a human emotional response you're only going to naturally get within a person-to-person environment like a focus group.
So true. And then I guess the last point I would make on this that I think is extremely important. It's like, some people were like, why would I review one first quarter?
Yep.
90 days. Well, some people don't have the tolerance to even do it for 90 days. They want to, like, in 2 weeks, they're like, this isn't working. I'm pulling the plug.
Yep.
And that's what I mean by like knowing your stomach and like how much you can tolerate with something. But like, one thing with 90 days is it at least teaches you some lessons. So let's say you were absolutely in love with the campaign. Like you worked hard on it. You got insights from people. You did a small focus group. This was like everybody was full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And in 90 days, it's not working the way that you thought it was going to work. That's an opportunity for you to make some tweaks. It's teaching you a lesson of, again, tolerance, some things you may have to change out. It doesn't mean like abandon it and walk away and
No,
you're done and you just wasted $3,000 or whatever you spent on it. But if you're not willing to look at what the data is telling you and learn the lessons, then you can't tweak it. That's why, quite honestly, people pay for ad managers. Let's face it, you can learn how to do these things again if you have the time.
Yep.
But an ad manager is going to look at the data, come back and say to you, we need to tweak X, Y, or Z, or this picture is doing so much better than this picture.
Exactly.
This video with this song is doing 10 times more than this one that you really loved. I know you loved it and you threw more dollars at this one, but this one's working better.
Exactly.
What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
So that's it's about learning the lessons, but more than anything, we all get so busy. So reviewing your marketing strategy and your data quarterly
Building the time into your calendar, yes,
to
to
do
do
it.
it.
And
To do it.
even if it's a half hour, you get together, you say, this is what we know and don't know. What do we need to do? At least you're getting yourself into that habit of forcefully, I don't care what size your business is, you're a sole proprietor. You're a sole proprietor doing lawn care. Where are you getting your clients from?
Mhm.
How do you do more of it? Are you doing a referral campaign? Like all those things
Absolutely.
are going to tell you something that could, explode you into the next level. So,
And that's really ultimately, again, why we get so excited about it, is because data has the ability to take you to that next level, to really move you into that next stage of business, which I think is extremely important. And that's why you invest in marketing. So again, today's topic was reviewing results. And our tip for you is building it into your calendar and taking a look at all the data, not just what you may think is important data, but all of the data that when you're reviewing marketing, what are all of your channels, what are your efforts, what are your initiatives, is there qualitative data, is there quantitative data, and scheduling that time in there to really understand it and make it actionable.
yeah.
So we're going to transition, I think, here into the last little bit, which is our shout out, one of our most favorite parts of Find Things Refreshed, which, Angie, I'm going to throw it over to you because I know that you've been excited about this place and it's recently opened. So I'm going to kick it over to you and throw a little banner on the bottom for us as well.
So, my Find Things shout out this week is local to the Altoona area. We need to do your area.
Yeah, we will.
Carolina, Beach, North Carolina, for you, those of you who don't
It's
know.
really funny because it looks like your background, you have the like yellowish paint,
I
and
know,
mine is, it
it's
almost
weird.
looks like we're
I
in the
know, it's
same
so weird.
room.
It almost looks like it's attaching it together. The
Yeah,
same.
it really is almost with that like little joint in the, where is it? Right here.
Yeah. So,
Anyway.
but my shout out is Cafe Kiros in Altoona. I hope I'm saying that right. Jason will be like, you said our name wrong. Cafe Kiros is just like, it's awesome. You got to go check it out. You can get coffee, boba tea. Am I saying that right?
Well, I mean, but depends if it's bubble tea or
Oh,
boba tea.
yeah, Bobo. I think isn't Bubble a brand? Anyhow, we'll have to get into that on another topic.
Yes.
Um, tea, coffee,
Baked goods, right?
breakfast,
Incredible chef.
dinner, baked goods, gluten free, um, and then live music now
Yep.
on weekends sometimes.
There's opportunity for workspace to go sit and set up your computer.
They're gonna have outside. Well, they're opening the outside courtyard. But here's like the really cool thing. So it's on Pike Road, going out towards Duncansville. It is the old Calvin House building. So that
Mhm.
anyone who's my age or in that same realm of age knows the Calvin House has been there for weddings and business meetings and love
Easter buffet. I remember doing that a few times.
the building. And now they've bought it and they've turned it into Atlas Furniture, Cafe Kiros, and there's another announcement which I can't make, but something else coming in there. So it's going to be like a destination shopping experience. So I get super excited about them. That again, before COVID, this was like a hot buzzword topic for
Oh,
retail. I've actually taught on it before. It's about experiential shopping destinations. where you can go and you can grab your cup of coffee, you can walk through the different places, go back and have lunch, hang out for a while. You're there. It's a destination because you're there for more than a half hour or so.
Mhm.
Anything that's a destination, you're going there to stay for a couple of hours. Can make it an outing. So like I'm so excited because I love furniture and design. So you can stop at Atlas. I can go into Cafe Curious, and then, as the weather gets nice and they open up the courtyard and you can
Yeah, that's going to be incredible.
stay for live music. Like I said, something else coming there soon. So that is our Fine Things shout out. Like we're so excited. And if you live in Blair County
Mhm.
or the surrounding areas that you come to this area, we just say, you're a fine thing.
You are a fine thing, and it's really, 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 really exciting. Jason's doing an incredible job in growing that business over there, and we're, blessed to be a part of that. So thank you for letting us be a part of, your business, Jason, but also it's exciting to shout out something, local to us. And we will do a local shout out here in Carolina Beach for sure. Got to get my rounds and find my local favorites. But for those of you that are checking out the bottom ticker here, if you want to find them on Facebook, Cafe Curios, go ahead and take a look at what they're doing. They are now open. So if you guys have a chance, go check it out. But we appreciate you guys again. I just want to do another little happy birthday to you, Mom. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you've done in my life and the blessings you've brought into Yazoo. Thank you to our viewers out there that are continuing to follow us. Make sure that you stay tuned. You dive on in to reviewing your results. And we'll be back here soon. And we're going to try and get back on this regular scheduled session. So episode 4, probably sometime in May. Keep an eye out, guys. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you soon.
With our little dance, Eli.
Yeah.
Give background music now. Like,
Let's turn it up.
it's the little things that make me happy.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Have an amazing day. Happy birthday, Mom. We'll see you guys soon. We'll be back in episode 4. Bye, y'all.